So hopefully I'm going to be able to tell you about 2 victories in this particular video. Let's get into it. So I'm rather late to the party on this one, but I recently heard about a copyright lawsuit case between a British YouTuber and an American YouTuber, although I guess they're probably both commentators more than they are YouTube personalities. Although I suppose, yeah, they are YouTube personalities. One of them is very much on the side. Well, they're on opposing sides. As you probably imagine, there's a lot of tension at the minute between various different groups in the world and in America as well. But this actually stems back to the 2016 US presidential election, where of course Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton and became the president of the United States. Now, one of the YouTubers is called Aquila Hughes, or Aquila obviously, on YouTube, and the other one is Sargon of Akkad, if I pronounced that correctly. I can't remember what his last name is, Benjamin something or other. I've not really heard of either of them before. I've heard about Sargon of Akkad before. Not heard about Aquila before. Just not there's not people that turn up on my, radar usually. So the only real reason I know about Sargon is because he stood for, he was one of the UKIP parliamentary candidates for the last UK election. And he was on an interview with, in one of the morning shows, I think, or something. He didn't get a seat, so yeah, that happened. But whether he was expecting to or not, I don't know, because UKIP obviously had a bit of a change in fortunes from the election previous. But anyway, I'm not really here to get into politics and that sort of debate, even though we are going to a little bit, just to really explain the background. So basically, Aquila released a video just talking about, or showing the, what do they call it, like the presidential election party, like victory party, for Clinton, which never, of course, happened. And while I've not seen the video, I imagine it's very much, people being quite dejected. For the UK viewers, you may have seen similar sort of footage when the Brexit vote happened, I guess. Both decisions very, very tight, people very emotional on both sides. And yeah, obviously people very upset one way and people very happy the other way. And what Sargon did is he took that video, edited it down, and posted it up with something along the lines of something derogatory about social justice warriors, or basically calling her a social justice warrior, and how aware or woke or whatever it is they are of it. If you want to see full details on this, you need to go and check out someone else's video. And I think probably something that a lot of people don't know is that I do have a law degree, but it's, for me now, it's not worth the paper that it's written on, really. In fact, it costs me every month in the way of student loan. So if I could trade that in and not have to pay my student loan, that would be great. But anyway, moving on. There's lots of in-depth commentary about the judgment and all of that, which I'm not really here to get into. Most of it is just a factual thing. So basically, she tried to take down his video. He then countered it and said, it falls under fair use. And then the person who is wanting the video to be taken down has to decide whether they're going to go to court or not. Now, she decided to. And when I first thought about it, based on the fact it was just the same video edited and then re-uploaded, I can sort of see why it would potentially infringe copyright. Just purely based on that. Having watched the videos, understanding the case a bit more, not that you can tell, I can see how it definitely does fall into fair use. And I think if you spent more than 5 minutes looking at the other stuff outside of just those base facts, then yeah, you would come to the same conclusion. It's edited in such a way that it portrays a level of criticism that, he's trying to do. It's heavy. I can't remember what percentage it is edited down, but I think it's like 20% of the original content or something. It's then, got a very provocative title, like I mentioned earlier, that, is designed to criticise and what have you. So basically just like a compilation of bringing stuff together to say, this is what I think about that person from that video. Now, unfortunately for Etiquette, that wasn't the case. She took him to court, lost. That's the TLDR here. And that's sort of where the story both starts and ends, I guess. So there was a lot of extra motions brought in for claiming back for damages and that sort of stuff. Sargon raised money through GoFundMe to pay for his legal defense. Pretty standard stuff for, high-profile YouTubers or people with a large following to do. Makes sense. It's expensive. And he's basically won damages of $40,000. So, or the cost of his legal counsel and other associated court fees. That was obviously disputed and I believe lost again. So, she will have to pay that money. Don't know how. A lot of people don't just have $40,000 lying around. So, there's usually a bit of wiggle room. She probably won't end up as well paying all of that. But in terms of the copyright aspect, which is where I can sort of segue to myself a little bit here, it's a really good victory for that, in my eyes. And I guess the most recent thing I've had experience with that is the video I made about Jay's 2 cents, where I critiqued. I like to think of it more of an educational video, as in like going through the steps that were taken and actually evaluating them properly and being able to, think about it for yourself is more what I was sort of going for. But, I got given a notice, not a copyright strike or anything like that, but, that I had copyrighted material in my video. They wanted the money, the ad revenue for it. As far as I'm concerned, normally I never argue these things. I normally just say that's fine if you want the 12 cents that my video will make, and you'll feel better for it. You take it. It's not a problem. But with this one, I think it's because maybe I don't feel as though I was overly harsh or overly critical. I think a lot of the points I made are very sensible, and yeah, it strikes to me that he never addressed a lot of that stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that people have an issue with. And I'm going to talk a little about Twitter now. I'm going to talk about Twitter for quite a bit, actually, after this. But I despise Twitter. I know I'm on it, and I'm going to show you some stuff on it, and the rest of this story is about it. But, God, it's just the worst, isn't it? Anyway. Okay, composure. So he went on a bit of a tirade about how, people criticise him without knowing what they're saying. I heard it on a forum. I know it wasn't aimed at me. It was aimed at his comment section in general about him never doing anything right or doing things in the right way. And yeah, that is sort of, my video was a bit about that. I mean, I've never really had any real criticisms about him before, but, I watched it and it felt like such a big deal that there was that much wrong, and people may actually be I don't know, lots of people watch these tech videos for help and advice and what have you, and they're not going to get it from that video. It really does not serve its purpose. But yeah, the point is, anyway, I countered that, and his video management company dropped the claim, or whatever you want to call it, claim on the video straight away. So that was good. That was a victory for me, victory for copyright overall, and a victory for me. I guess the other part of this is being able to lose well is difficult. And Etiquette has not done this particularly well, and for that I am going to have to share, unfortunately, her Twitter. And I'll be honest with you, I probably would not have made this video if I hadn't have looked on her Twitter. A bit of morbid curiosity on my part. I'm trying to think which one this is. There we go. Got it right first time. So this is her Twitter. You can go and check her out if you want to. The YouTube channel is by the same name, Etiquette, obviously. Although it's more like Etiquette, obviously. Like that. That's pretty much how it says it. Which makes sense. It's good. It's good branding, part of it. It doesn't help when you're trying to give commentary on it, though. So we're just going to scroll down to... There was a bit that I wanted to show. Maybe should have found it first, because now I'm stalling for time. So, looks of it, she's getting quite a lot of harassment, and I guess, because this news is recently, broken in its entirety, I suppose. Even though it's been out in the domain for a while. So she's also been getting a lot of, issues and hatred from people on Twitter. Probably why you shouldn't be on Twitter. I don't understand why people are, but yeah, Twitter is not worth it. I actually didn't read this. I didn't read this tweet. It's not the tweet actually I was going to look for. It's one further down, and it was more about the legal side of it. Hey, if you follow me on Twitter, you may notice I'm being harassed by a bunch of white men today. That's because I sued a white supremacist for stealing my content on YouTube in 2016. Well, there was no additional commentary, only cuts in order. We felt using more than... We felt that... What? Is there more? Oh, there we go. 20% of my work was unacceptable. I think it was about 20%. Keep in mind, the express purpose of this white supremacist was to arouse the horde of 4chan white supremacists into harassing me. This sort of sounds like you need to take your tinfoil hat off. That's it. After all, this was a video of me earnestly saying I was surprised Hillary lost because I was. So, basically, she's been going quite hard on this guy on Twitter. You can go and look it up for yourself if you want to. And I don't believe he's been any sort of white knight at all, judging from the very small amount I know about him, which is obviously not a lot. But yeah, to be in this section is difficult, and I think this is something that I don't mean this condescendingly, even though it may come across that way, but I do feel for people who are very much engrossed in Twitter, in Facebook, in social media. You would be quite well within your rights to think that, especially in the UK, I can only go on the UK, and this is another criticism I've got. Well, I'm just going to stick to the UK for this. And I imagine it's very similar in America. But in the UK, if you were just to, the day before the last election, if you were just to look on Twitter, look on Facebook, you'd think, bloody hell, Labour have got this. Tory's going to be wiped out from the political landscape. This is going to be a totally red map in terms of like the constituencies and which colour they go to. And then you get the election results, and it's one of the most decisive elections since Tony Blair. It's not quite the flip reverse, but yeah, of such historical significance as Tony Blair's election won by Boris Johnson, of all people. Yeah, I know. So I can see how easy it is for people to get trapped in the idea that they live in their social bubble of social media and believe that everyone shares the same opinions they do, because they don't. These issues are not clear cut. They're not, a simple thing of, well, I feel this way, so everyone else should. It's not the way it works. It's not the way the world works, and unfortunately, stuff like social media does inhibit people to believe that. And I think there's a very similar issue going on here. But that's more of a general concept that I've noticed. I don't think it's right. I think we need to have a better way of engaging on politics and policies, and any sort of way to expand the debate outside of, these very closed off social media bubbles. Because I think there's validity in both views, and the problem is they're so segregated that they can't get together. Although when they do, well, yeah, anyway, bad stuff happens, it seems. So yeah, the point I was going to make is that you can't ever condone this sort of thing. No matter what she comes out and says before or after the case. And I think, she is very much exhibiting the fact of being a sore loser, not wanting to really accept it, which, is fine. But from what I've watched and what you can go and watch, you can understand it. So this tweet here is the whole reason I wanted to make this video, really, because it annoys me the most, I guess. So she's had this case and she's lost. And instead of, thinking about the validity of a case or what may be wrong in the copyright law. Maybe there's something you can petition about to get the law changed for the future. Now that's always good. Obviously, legal doctrine is a thing, and what have you, and precedence is always going to be there. But the way to, bypass that potentially is to, try and, petition for the law to be changed. But she's got this tweet here where she's advocating for people to vote against I don't know, and I don't understand American politics, but vote against the proposal, the idea, or basically voting against Donald Trump, I think, to ensure judges like this are not appointed. Now, look, there's nothing wrong with knowing the disposition of your judge based on facts about their life. It's a perfectly valid thing to do. But to go out your way to say this person needs to be deplatformed or shouldn't be in their position of power, especially when it comes to things like legal systems, they're these very highly educated, and actually, from what I've experienced, I don't know about this guy, obviously, very well balanced, very polite, proper people. Not always, of course, but yeah, to start saying that you want to, deplatform whatever, remove someone from their job or not let people like this. People like what? People who are judges, extremely experienced, thorough, act on legal doctrine and precedent. No, I've seen some of the judgment. I've seen a lot of the words that were said in the court from the judgment, and it all seems perfectly fine to me. I always find that the American judgments are a lot more informal, I guess, than the ones over in the UK. Just something I've noticed. It's not a criticism. It's just that, it's a bit more relaxed. They're a bit more loose with their words, but no less intelligent or, thoughtful in what they're saying. It's just a different way of going about it, I suppose. And I think this for me was the big issue and the reason why I wanted to make a video. From what I gather, I don't know if the case is still going on or it's finished. If the case is going on, this is a stupid thing to do. I mean, part of the reason why she lost, I think, the case for paying the legal expenses is because of her attitude, and basically it's pretty much contempt of the court almost. And, that sort of stuff it doesn't matter who's doing it. It doesn't matter what side you're on. Anything about you, if you're doing that in a court of law, you are going to be, for want of a better word, punished for it, and quite rightly you should be, because things like that they're not acceptable in a civilized society. I know some people maybe don't want that, but that is how it has been for a long while, how it will be, and how it should be, because without the rule of law, things would be a lot darker than they are now, and dark and bleak. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to be able to go in and be balanced. I am more than happy with the outcome of the case. Overall, it adds a lot more strength to fair use, which, helps me being a content creator, helps me being a content consumer as well, because it allows for enhanced freedom of speech and enhanced creativity, from the creators. It gives them more options, more avenues to be able to do this stuff without fear of, being deplatformed. So yeah, you can, like I say, you can go and watch any of the other videos. They'll give you a lot more detail. There's a lot of stuff around, a bit more of the back and forth, mainly from Michaela's point of view and the stuff she said about Sargon, and alluding to, filing complaints and stuff against his Patreon and saying how glad she was that she's going to get his money. It's all extremely unsavory. It's like watching a divorce play out in real time. And yeah, I don't know. I think that, and it's something I've always thought, and it's good to see it backed up, is that, you have to take legal cases seriously, or they won't take you seriously. And, in the few I've seen, in the couple I've not necessarily been involved with, but been close to, that rings true, and it rings true here. And I think for no other reason than that. I mean, cases have been swayed for less, but, you've got to be you got to be on your best behaviour. You got to be right as well and proper. And unfortunately, Akira didn't do it. And I hope she learns. She's obviously not, because it's only 22 hours ago. But I hope she does learn her lesson going forward. Like I say, people shouldn't be harassing her. You know, people are more than destructive enough in their own space about other people prodding and poking them. I know it's nice to, you know, maybe, you know, poke the bear when they're down, I guess, and you know, rub it in a bit. Honestly, don't think, you know, that sort of thing is needed. The court has handed down and will continue, presumably, to hand down that level of beating her when she's down, I would have thought, based on all this. And yeah, it's a shame, but I hope that we've seen a bit more of an advancement of fair usage going forward. I don't know how this will go. I'm not going to comment on it further. I can't imagine. There's no real point in that. I just wanted to make this video purely literally based on that one tweet. So I hope you all found it entertaining. Maybe not entertaining, insightful, I guess. Interesting, something. But if you have watched it and enjoyed it, I thank you very much. I've been maybe a little bit more candid with you in this video than I have done previously. But I guess, you know, when it's something I feel I have a bit more qualification to speak on, I generally feel a bit more confident about coming out and talking about it. Hence why, you know, I did with the Jay's 2 cents video. I made like a near 40-minute video, or 32-minute video? I can't remember now. 30-something minute video. And this one's going to go on long as well. So, yeah, I appreciate you all. And, yeah, let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, I'm open to it all, and we can have a very civilised... Always try and be civilised in my comments if I can. But I'm more than happy as well to have that dialogue. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.